Hey guys, welcome back to the garden. I have soil samples from the food forest and from the new part of the garden, and I'm so excited to share this with you. This is the result, you could say, or the more scientific result of 10 years of work with improving the soil and starting a regenerative cycle in the soil that we have. And I'm really excited to share this with you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we did on our soils in different places and sharing some of my favorite methods, and also just sharing a little bit how I have experienced the progress and the process of improving the soil here. I remember when I was doing my PDC, and I did it in Regenerative Leadership Institute in Oregon, and I did it online because I've got a big garden and I didn't have time to be away from my garden. But I remember the teacher who taught us about soil. He was weeping when he was speaking about soil, and it was so touching, and I absolutely understand this love of soil. It's like it's the first ethical principle: care for the earth, but care for the soil. So meaning that if you don't have living, healthy soils, everything else that you do is not really going to amount to anything. So this understanding has, I would say, a big chunk of what I've been doing in the garden, a big chunk of the work has been improving the soil in very many different ways. And right now well, actually, I think we should have a look at this, maybe if I am shading so that we don't get a glare from this. We are comparing our soil samples with like conventionally farmed agricultural soils in Denmark, and this is this line. And usually you would say that between 4 to 6% of organic matter in conventionally farmed soils in Denmark. That varies, of course. And here you can see this is the food forest where we've been improving the soil, the black line, improving the soil for about 10-11 years, and this is the new garden where you can see that actually the percentage of organic matter in the soil is almost 16%, and it's around 12.5–13% in the food forest. And I'm of course really pleased about this. Of course it's a function of depth, and we can see that it takes a long time for all this organic matter to reach deeper down than where these sort of meet, 40 to 50 centimeters deep. This is super interesting to me, and I know it's maybe nerdy and not important to you in that way, but I think it's really a wonderful way to understand how the things we do in permaculture to improve the soil, how that's actually affecting the soil, especially in terms of having organic matter in there. Much more organic matter will give you many more it's a better porosity, it's a better, there's a better distribution of water, of nutrients, and of course it also means that you can have much more soil life. I'm not a nerd in that way, but I will link to a really wonderful video by Canadian Permaculture Legacy, and he's made a 1-hour video that's super nerdy but super beautiful about this whole soil food web that's distributing nutrients and making nutrients available for plants and then for human beings, and it's just beautiful. So I understand why my teacher on the PDC was weeping when he spoke about soil. So this bit is me charging some of my biochar this year with my worm castings, and you can see these are last year's worm castings. I'm gonna show them to you how delicious they are. These are just worm castings from our food scraps, and look, isn't it amazing that these compost worms, they break down everything and make the nutrients available again to plants and other soil beings, and I think it's just a really beautiful process. I take this worm compost once a year, and then I mix it up with this this biochar that I actually get from Germany. I don't know how to get it in Denmark, but I've got a good friend that takes a couple of bags with her from Germany up to me. So, and then I share with her some of my charged biochar in her garden, and it grows amazingly. So it's a good exchange, I think. Actually, I would like to, I'm so proud of my worm population. So this is all our food scraps, of course, but just this, look, it's just full of worms everywhere, and they are just doing their bit, and I think it's pretty effing amazing. And I love to just open up and have a look at what they're doing, because I know it's super important. And this means, of course, we've used biochar that I've used especially in the new garden, and not very much in the food forest. And I think that maybe explains a little bit the difference that we see if we look at the graphs again. So this is where I have used the biochar, and because maybe it's not so long ago I added a lot of organic material, this percentage of course is higher. It has many reasons, but what I'm curious about is that this uptick I actually see in the depths of this, that's quite a lot more. It's a couple of percents more than the other soils. I would be interested to see if I continue using biochar, will I have an uptick, will I have more organic matter as a function of depth, so I will have, the deeper we go, the more organic material will be there. Is that a function of using biochar? I don't know, but I'm curious about this. Also because I know that when farmers, regenerative farmers maybe, are talking about using biochar on conventional fields, they are talking about bringing it down to a depth of about 70 centimeters, 1 meter down. It's far down, and I've not done that. I've just added it on top. So I don't know. I am just sharing my experiments, and I'm so curious to hear what your experiences are and what you have done. But I think that one of the things that have brought me most joy in working with the soil is the feeling of aliveness that I get when I work with it. But also I want to show you how many worms are in here. I was about to move this the other day, but actually I thought I would wait until I've made this video. So have a look at how many different creatures are in here. So many different earthworms and what are these, millipedes, centipedes, whatever. So much life is going on in this soil, and I'm not doing anything. It's just really regenerating itself, and all the roots that come from the grass being shaded out is in the process of being made available as nutrients again. I think it's pretty amazing. There's an old saying where the life in the soil is you should have as much biomass or as much protein in the soil as you have above in the form of animals or whatever. And I think I'm just happy to see that we have lots and lots of stuff going on in the soil. I want to take you in here because this is where we have these almost 16% of organic matter, and that is because it's only 3-4 years since I added a lot of horse manure, a lot of compost, a lot of seaweed, and a lot of sheep's wool. I used some chicken poop and all of that. And this is a really amazing experience in here because it's full of life. We call it the explosive garden because it has so much growing power. It's almost frightening. And in here I used the biochar that I charged with my worm compost, and I just feel that the soil is happy and alive, and we have amazing vegetables from in here, but as you can see we also have like amazing weeds. So this is like the wheelbarrow. This is number 5 that I have removed from in here, and I still got like 1 day, 2 days, maybe 2 days of weeding to go. Another thing that I experience in the areas where I'm using biochar is actually that everything seems to be sprouting better. So if you have a look at this, it's like every seed that falls in fall has actually found the right nutrients to sprout this spring, and I see that much more in here than I do inside the food forest. Things are sprouting in the food forest, but not at this rate. So I'm curious about this, and I'm also curious to know if you've had that experience, if you've been using biochar. As you can see, the soil is really dark and loose and lovely to work with, and this of course is easier and important if you are doing annuals as we are in this area. But I also see that all of the perennials are just thriving, and even this, I mean, even the trees, you see now the peaches are coming out, and this tree is only 3 years old. I planted it 3 years ago, so you see there's lots of growing power and health in the soil in here, also for the trees. And I mean, it makes me happy for days, this place. But I want to take you inside the food forest where we did the other sample. And so the food forest is almost 11 years old now. And this means that it's actually maybe, in many places, maybe at least 6-7 years ago since I added a lot of organic material to the food forest. And so that's also maybe why we see that it's less. It's not almost 16%, it's maybe 12.5% of organic matter that's in the soil in here. And that varies, of course, depending on where you take the samples, but they did take samples to different places, I think. But I'm finding that there's the same kind of growing power in here as in the other garden. Maybe a little less, but it's clear to me that this garden is already regenerative all by itself. I don't need to keep adding things in here. So I see that all the leaves and all the growth that sort of dies back in fall is more than enough to regenerate, to replenish all the nutrients that the garden needs to thrive and grow and be healthy, and build soil and build organic matter in the soil. So I'm not adding. You can actually see maybe, so this is underneath this lovely medlar, and I've even removed some of them, but you see this is the soil armor that's here, and it's just being decomposed, and it covers the soil, and it will eventually become incorporated into the food soil web. I'm so pleased with this. And I think it's important if we can also have maybe sometimes some numbers showing what we know in our gut, what we absolutely feel when we are in the garden. And sometimes we need numbers, and that's fine. And I was just so grateful that these PhD students came and visited the garden, and we had a good day. So I hope you feed your soil and that you enjoy this process as much as I'm enjoying it. And thanks for watching. See you later.